All right, cool. Let's go out to the guest line, the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Show over 1,500 Toyotas indoors, one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. Marlins television analyst Gaby Sanchez joining us here on the show. Gaby, thanks for the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Tobin and Leroy, thank you guys for having me.
Hey, man, it's great to have you. You know, it's funny, Gaby. We got a couple of young producers, and they were unaware of you having one of the greatest baseball brawl moments of all time, like that you have the clothesline from hell. How many times a week will you have somebody coming up and talking to you about the forearm on Nyjer Morgan?
When I'm at the stadium, at least 5 or 6 times I will get, oh, that's my favorite moment ever. Like, dude, you're the man, clothesline. I'm like, all right, thank you. I mean, I did other things, right? And they're like,
it was an all-star.
But it's a clothesline. It was a clothesline. I'm like, all right, cool.
Did Chris Volstad ever get you anything, like, as a thank you for that? Like, when after it was all said and done, like, did he buy you a beer for saving his life?
No, he didn't have to buy me anything. That's what we do. We're family. When you're on the field, you're with those guys basically more than you're actually with your own family. You're there at 1 o'clock, you're traveling with them, you're with them, you're having dinner. So somebody goes after your family member, you got to protect them. So there's no need to buy anything. Well, it's just instincts.
Gaby, here's the deal. What made it more enjoyable? Or I won't say more enjoyable, but more satisfying. The fact that you were able to defend your family, or the fact that you got to do it with a person that was a bit of an antagonist? You see what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying. I know where you're getting at. At the moment in time, there was things that were going on. He had, the game before, our catcher got his rib broken because of him. So there was things that have already escalated to that point. And yeah, it's what happens in baseball too, the passion, the times that it was, where you just have to kind of control your emotions while things are going on that way. But at the same point, have that understanding of, you're trying to hurt us, so we're going to repay the favor.
Speaking of like the ride of emotions, Gaby, like this has been, I imagine, a very tough season for this team to stay even keeled, because there have been so many one-run games and so many games that have been either determined by either the bullpen blowing it or them having a crazy comeback late. What have you just kind of made of everything this season, with the Marlins having so many games being decided by such a thin margin? It's been such a weird year.
It is. It's a really weird year, because when you start to look at it, you're right. You talk about the one-run games where you take just 7. I mean, even with 7, you're still losing a bunch. But all of a sudden now you're like 5 games over 500. And that's the beauty of baseball, and that's the part of baseball too that also drives you crazy, where you're playing good baseball and you're right there. You're a pitch away, you're a hit away, you're a pass ball away, whatever it might be, of either tying a game or winning a game. But for me, that's like the beauty of it. But it's also the frustrating part, because you want to win those games, because you know that, man, if things were just a little different, if that ball just didn't take a bad hop or it didn't bounce, we win that game and we're good. We're over 500. We're even more in the playoff talks. We're closer to that first place in the division. But there's still half of the season left. So you kind of look at those and you learn from the losses that you had as a team. And then, okay, how do we get better? How can we turn those, one-run losses into one-run wins? And that's what the team has been doing lately. They were really, really bad early on, but now all of a sudden they've won a lot more of those one-run games, especially as of late. So if that trend continues, that second half is going to be huge.
Gaby, isn't that what separates teams, though? Because we're having this conversation about the Marlins, and they're sitting around 500. But there aren't a lot of teams that are just blowing teams out. And you're going to have a lot of these games. And so from that standpoint, I want to go here is that Are you more excited about all the home runs hit now, but it comes with the strikeouts? Or were you a fan of like situational baseball? Like your one hole hitter always got on base, your second hole hitter always made contact, got guys on the base for 3, 4, and 5. It just seems like we've gotten away from that. Now everybody's swinging away to the point where there's really no small ball being played anymore.
No, you're 100% correct. I was always a fan of that small ball, the team baseball aspect of the game. Guys get on second base with no outs, moving over to third, get them in with less than 2, manufacture runs. I love that. That's my type of baseball. Now, there's something to be said, too, about the home runs. You need those guys on the team to be able to hit those home runs because every once in a while, you might not get into the situation where you can move them over. You'll get guys on first base with 2 outs, and, hey, that home run comes into play.
Right.
But you're right. It does seem like the game had evolved into we're going to swing hard, hit a lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts, averages are down. It seems, though, that now the game is starting to change a little bit back. The Marlins, when they're winning ball games, they're playing that small ball game. They're moving guys over. They're getting guys in. And it depends on what team you have. So for me, the game is starting to change back to getting away from just those crazy high strikeouts, because it's not like the home runs have gone nuts either. Those things are kind of dwindling down and kind of coming to the same points throughout these last couple of years. So it's not like those are continuing to go up. But the small ball of the game, I feel like that's starting to come back a little bit more. I've been seeing it, especially this year around the league, a lot more. So that's got me excited. And then when you look at, this Marlins team, the starting pitching has been incredible. So you're always in a chance to win ball games, and it might take those small ball games to win, those 3-2 games, those 2-1 games, those 4-2 games, where the pitching staff is there. We're giving up 2-3 runs. You look at a guy like on the mound today with Sandy Alcántara. Sandy's day. They have Sandy's Beach Day today at the stadium, which I love too. They're trying, get the fans in there to watch this man pitch because he is doing something special. He is in a league of his own right now because in the era of pitching, guys go out there and the starting pitchers 5-6 innings, get them out, let the bullpen come in, finish it off. He's old school. He's going out there and it's like, give me the ball. I want to go 8-9 innings. I want a complete game. And he's doing it. And the first half that he put up, one of the best first halves I've ever seen in baseball.
Is it you think the overtime rules, the way they do the extra inning rules, is kind of steering baseball back to that move a guy, get him to third with less than 2 outs, and then just try to get him in because there's pressure on you to get that run in at any cost?
And yes, I do. And I like the extra inning rule. And for multiple reasons. One, you're not using up your bullpen. You're not destroying that bullpen. You're not getting guys getting sent down because, hey, sorry, you're pitching really well, but we need, 4 bullpen arms for these next 5 games because you guys are all out. Like it takes that away, which that I like. But yes, you are right. Depending on what happens with the visiting team, because the visiting team really, when you put a man on second, you can play for 1, but we're playing for 1. There's more than a chance that they're going to at least score 1 and tie this game up, and we're just going to continue going. So depending on where you are in the lineup is depending on what that manager is going to do. You're at the bottom of the lineup, you're going to play that small ball. Let's get 1. Hopefully we can hold them off. If they tie it, then we'll have our top of the lineup where then we can play for multiple runs.
Right.
Gabby, what is the thing about Sandy that has impressed you the most? Because, he's just such a fascinating throwback, like you said. But I love also that, man, he gets mad if Don Mattingly tries to take him out. He gets furious. So I love that anger that he pitches with too. Like, just what has been the thing as an analyst, as a fan, that you've enjoyed the most from him this season?
So that is one of the things that I've enjoyed the most, where he has said, enough. I want to go out there. I want to pitch. And guess what? Don Mattingly is like, hey, you're my number one. You're my guy. Get out there. You have proven to me that you're able to do it, because that's really the biggest thing, right? Can you prove to your manager that you can take that next step? And he has. He got that ball and said, no, I want to go back out there. Okay, here's your trust, right? You go out there, show me that you can do it. Okay, you did it today. Show me that you can do it again, because one time you can do it. How about two? How about three? Well, once you get to 12 times going into the seventh inning, allowing basically 2 runs or less, you're like, dude, you tell me when you want to come out. You go ahead. You take the ball. I have to protect you at some point, because I can't have you throw 120 pitches every single outing that you're out there, because I need you for the whole entire season. But you can pick and choose, yes, when you're going to go. The thing that impressed me the most, there was one game where I got to kind of rove around the stadium, and they put me in different spots, and I got on top of that third base dugout. So it was the Marlins dugout, and I was about 3 or 4 rows deep, and I was watching him pitch from the side. And I went, boy, am I glad I'm not playing baseball anymore, because I don't think that I could be able to hit this dude. Because it was, I mean, I've watched plenty of games from up close in that dugout, watching balls come through. There's just an extra little oomph that he gives. And when you're talking about a guy in the 9th inning still throwing 100 miles an hour at pitch 108 or 110, you know that all the hard work that he has been putting in before his starts during the off season is coming out. And then you realize, man, this guy puts in the work, and here it's showing.
The other exciting thing that looks like it's happening this weekend, Gabby, they called up Max Meyer, one of the top prospects, and is going to go this series. What's kind of the buzz on him, man? Like, what have you heard about him? What are you looking forward to seeing from him? And what kind of a jolt can that have for a team when you know you're kind of getting reinforcements like that from the minors?
Well, I mean, what we've heard is what everybody's been hearing about how nasty he is. He showed what he could do when he was in spring training, where he was just dominant. And I get it, it's spring training, but you're still going out there and you're being dominant against big league hitters. And then you look at the numbers that he's been putting up in the minor leagues throughout this whole entire, since he's been drafted all the way till now, where you're like, yeah, he deserves to be up here. He deserves to be able to pitch and show what he can do. I'm excited to see that slider. I hear great things about it. It's hard slider. It's a hard fastball. More than that, though, he knows how to pitch. He can move the ball in and out. So I'm just excited for him, but I'm excited as not only an analyst, but I'm excited as a fan, because we've been hearing so much about him that now we finally get to really see him in a Major League Baseball game, go out there and use his craft.
Do you remember what that moment was like when you got called up? Because they put out the video of it yesterday when he got the news. Like, is that something that always sticks with you?
Oh, absolutely. Mine was a little unfortunate because we had just finished losing the AA title. It was 1-1. We lost the title in extra innings. So after the game, of course, it's kind of, you're mad because you were 1 win away from getting a ring in the minor leagues, which would have been real cool. You know, we felt like we had the better team. So we're all in the, clubhouse, and here comes everybody. Okay, hey, Gabby, coming to the office. They tell you the news. So it's really awesome because you just got called up, but then you also have those emotions of, man, we just lost. And then you open up the door and the guys are out there, spraying you with Gatorade and water. And you're like, you know what? We just turned a bad moment of losing into a pretty cool moment of jubilation, and everybody's happy for a guy to get called up to the big leagues, even though it's not them. But again, it's like that family member, because you're with those teams the whole entire year of guys getting called up. So it was a cool moment that I would definitely never forget, just because you had those ups and downs in that call up. But mine was a little bit different too, because I was going back to play for my hometown team that I grew up watching as a kid. So there was a little bit more emotions on that of, I was in the stands, and I told my family, told my, parents, like, I'm going to be on that field one day. And that was coming true.
That's pretty awesome, man. Listen, we're looking forward to catching you on the broadcast this weekend. Catch Gaby Sanchez and the rest of the crew on Bally Sports Florida. They do a tremendous job. Fun series this weekend. Sandman's on the hill tonight. And you got Max Meyer going this weekend as well. Big series against the Phillies. We appreciate the time, Gaby. Thank you.
Thanks, Gaby.
No, thank you guys for having me. You guys are awesome. All
righty. We will take a break. We got a little You Dead to Me coming up next hour. We'll get you caught up with your headlines, check in on the Open Championship. Looks like living it up. The Live boys are doing good on the leaderboard. Back after this.